Yeah, today our guest is Sushma, and she is my bachelor's friend for me. I don't know for her. We have to find out. I'm just a classmate. So today's discussion was today we want to discuss about like the elections are coming in India in 1.5 month. Like Sushma is an UPSC aspirant. And you know from my previous episode how much I hate UPSC. Sushma knows it even more. So let's see what is the perspective of like a common citizen, uh, elect, uh, like election perspective. I have my own perspective, but I'll start from asking Sushma. Okay, Sushma, like what do you think should be the outcome of elections? Like generally, like a relationship between state and people. Like what should be? What do you expect in an ideal world?
Yeah, in an ideal world. Okay.
Not in real world.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I think elections can be, a kind of means where everyone gets an opportunity um, to raise their voice, if not directly, at least through indirect means by their representatives or someone like that. So elections, in brief, can be said as a means where people can get their representation, not just the majority population of a country, but ideally it should be everyone who should get a representation. This should be the outcome of elections in an ideal world.
Okay. Um, okay. Based on your definition, basically everyone should be getting representation. But if you see any election like in the present world, the majority will only get the representation, right? Let's say the ruling party in India only has 38% of votes
Yeah.
on the count of vote, but they have a huge majority in representation.
Mm.
So how do we go from this place to representing uh, all the people?
Okay.
You
So
can also ask me questions. It's not like an interview.
yeah, I understand. See, basically, yeah, I agree that in our country,
Not
as you
just in
said,
our
the
country, like any
the
country.
majority of
No, I'm
yeah,
not specifically talking about
uh,
our country. Here it is
uh,
38%, and also in USA also the voting share of a presidential candidate is less than 50% only. Means the majority
yeah,
doesn't like vote for the president or vote for the
mm,
party that is in the power. Like it is in
okay,
all the almost all the parliamentary system. Parliamentary system you can see it
yeah,
very visibly, whereas in presidential systems like the difference is little. That's
okay. So you're asking, so you're basically saying that only the majority are getting representation.
represented. Yeah,
Uh, so, so you're asking me how far elections are a right way to get a representation.
yeah.
Is that
From here
is
to
that
like how can you maximize that those representations?
okay? So I can think of one way where it is happening even now, even currently also. See, we are following the type of election where we are following the first past the post system. So here, what happens is that like any candidate, see if there are two candidates in a fray in the election, the candidate who gets relatively more votes will be the elected candidate. But there are some type of elections where there is a proportional representation. In a proportional representation, there will be this will not be happening if three candidates are in fray. Say three candidates are in fray. So in that case, like it's not about the majority of the votes, but these people will be getting representation through these candidates. I mean, I mean to say, in the proportional representation, everybody will be having multiple choices of votes. For example, if we three are in the electoral roll,
Hmm.
I will. If there are three candidates in the election, so we will have a multiple votes. So there will be choices for us. We can give our first vote to somebody, second vote to somebody, and third vote to somebody. So like that, everybody will have a multiple votes. In that case, there will be proportional representation, because here in this case, not somebody who is getting majority votes are getting elected, but instead there will be according to the proportion only, elected candidates will be uh, elected candidates will be selected. So in that way, the representation can be better.
Okay, this applies to only citizens, right? It doesn't apply to
Yeah,
non-citizens.
of course. Yeah.
So let me give you an example, like a historical example, where
Mm,
there are two concepts, like there are like individual morality or like morality of the collective, whatever the collective may be, and individual rights. I'll give an example. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln want to abolish 13th Amendment. Abraham Lincoln basically want to pass 13th Amendment, freeing every black slave, every slaves. There should be no slaves
okay.
in the
Okay.
United States. He wants votes
Mm,
from Democrats. Means the Republicans, every Republican will vote for Lincoln only, but he want cross voting also, because he want to
okay.
make sure that the law is because it is an amendment. He want to make sure it is a bipartisan act. It's not an only Republican thing. Means the government that is coming after Lincoln should not say it is done by only Republicans and we want to abolish it again. Means we want to remove amendments,
Uh,
13th Amendment.
can you please repeat it?
Basically,
Sorry.
let's say basically they are amending constitution.
Okay.
Republicans has the majority.
Okay.
But Lincoln want to make sure that the amendment is not just a Republican agenda, it is agenda of the United
Mm,
States, United States Senate,
okay.
basically. So he want cross
Mm,
voting from Democrats as well,
mm,
the other party. So that the party, the
okay.
president, if there is a Democratic president after Lincoln, he will have
Mm,
no right telling that it is just passed by Republicans. So we are in majority now, so we will
mm,
abolish the 13th Amendment. So it will not be
mm,
like a fight between Republicans and Democrats. So for that, he
okay.
welcomed a Democratic
Mm,
senator to vote for
okay.
Republican cause. He said
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know his name, but what Lincoln asked was like, slavery is an injustice that was carried out by the United States. Now we have, now the remedy is in our hand. Like we can cure this society by passing
Mm,
13th Amendment. For that, his reply was, see, in my state, all the
mm,
white voters don't want
mm,
the slavery to be abolished. They want the
mm,
war to end first, not the amendment passed.
mm,
So by basically making slaves illegal, you are making
mm,
the states that are defending slavery anti-constitutional. You are basically branding them
mm,
as rebels,
mm.
and you are bringing state power to corrupt them in the name of
Okay.
population, in the name of United States, all the United States population, despite my state population not agreeing with your stand.
Mm,
So by voting for the 13th Amendment, I will be doing a disservice to my electorate. Here, the majority opinion is to keep slavery
mm, mm,
because the black population was not considered citizens. Here, the majority
okay.
considers
Mm,
slavery to be moral, or that's what they want. Now, in this case, if we look from our moral perspective, we can say that we can reject the
mm.
majority, right? We are not considering the value of the majority. Is it good or not? Okay, what do you think? Like, is it good? I don't think anyone will say slavery is good. I think slavery is bad. But how can you justify, based on your argument, telling that majority should be represented in the democratic process, that this also should be represented? Let's take India also. In India also,
I
most of the
think
people.
I think one question to start off with would be how well do you think representation works in our legislature, let's say.
No, I'm saying the
So like in
representation itself
no,
is not
no, no,
working
no,
in this case.
I'm not talking about like reservation and matlab,
No, not reservation. I'm
The
saying
ratio basically.
uh,
I'm just saying, like, whatever representation that we have today, do you think is it working or not? Do you have any specific examples where you see it is working, like it is doing well for a certain state or union
no,
territory?
I think reservation is like, I'm not saying that it is changing the society, but it is keeping most of the evils from the society on cusp. Basically, it is preventing the evils from happening.
No,
It
no,
is
no. No, Tarun. I think Chaitanya is saying about he's basically he's basically saying that let us start our discussion with how well this representation is working. See, for
Yeah.
example,
uh,
we are selecting a representative. Like for example, in our constituency, we have an MLA.
uh,
So how but here in our constituency people are of one idea, or they are for example regarding an issue people have one kind of stand, but
uh,
the MLA who is going to into the assembly, he might have a different stand, or he may be he may be in favor of the people opinion, or he may not be. So I think his question is how well this representation, like what does people stand, is actually reflecting in the assembly or legislature. Is that
Hmm.
uh,
it's it's more of like
is
a,
that what you're asking about?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly.
I
I'm saying we
understood.
should start off with that because then, let's say,
Okay.
Telangana elections, Congress won recently, right? Or was it Karnataka election
Huh, huh.
recently?
Karnataka
Yes.
elections,
Telangana election.
Both of them,
both,
both
both,
of them,
both,
both of them
both.
Congress
Congress
one.
won.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, like with BJP holding majority in the entire country, there must be some like some good initiatives that the opposition would be offering, which is why these were brought into power. So are you aware
Mm.
of some of these that
Yeah,
yeah,
first
are you aware of some of these policies that led the opposition to come into power?
let the bureaucrat question, because bureaucrat answer, because obviously
Yeah.
citizens answer will not be given as much as value as a bureaucrat.
No, but we can still give our
Okay.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is my
I mean, you're asking what different.
So are you
Though
aware? I'm just
BJP is in the
asking.
majority.
I'm just asking. Are you aware
Mm.
of any of the policies that they've promised or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have implemented in the past that led them to come into power?
Okay. No, no. I think the policies that have been implemented in the past did not bring them back to the power, but rather it is the policies that they have promised in their manifesto, and it is basically the promises they have promised in the manifesto brought them into power in Karnataka election. Whereas in
Hmm.
Telangana, it's anti-incumbency. Like for 10 years, BRS was in power, so people were of the opinion that these politicians are at a distance from the people. They are not available to the people.
Hmm.
So they wanted that a change to come, and they have voted them in favor. And of course, some issues like the PSC, Telangana PSC, was also one of the major reasons from the students' perspective. So majorly, these are the
Okay.
reasons, as far as I know.
So another
Uh,
question is, so the
let me add
manifesto
to it.
does not.
One of
Okay,
the
huh,
things
go
that
ahead.
brought BJP, like Congress to power in Karnataka, was having a good faces for CM candidate, popular face for CM candidate. I don't even remember the last BJP CM. Is some kind of obscure figure in the entire BJP hierarchy. It is a mistake from the BJP side, because maybe they don't want some kind of powerful or they are just going with the flow. They don't want to raise for example, there is good leader named Tejasvi Surya in Bangalore,
Hmm.
but he
Hmm.
was not
Hmm.
given higher positions in BJP. They are
He
bringing some
contests for
Okay.
BJP or
BJP
Congress?
only,
Tejasvi Surya,
Tejasvi Surya.
BJP only. Okay.
But he was not given any higher position. Maybe they have because of that mistake, the Congress won with like slight majority. It's not just slight majority,
Okay.
there is significant majority. And also they made the caste calculation like in a very wrong way. So that reflected in the election. And
Yes.
when it's come to Telangana, it is purely not because of the High Command caucus. It is purely because of Revant Reddy and the kind of extrajudicial things that the previous government is doing. It restricted its development mostly to Hyderabad, because Hyderabad is a cash cow. Even now it is
Okay.
also a cash cow.
True.
So they focused more on milking it rather than distributing the kind of wealth that they are producing. And also it is a trend basically, like people moving from public sector to private sector now. But in the case of BRS, they promised different. Like they promised telling that we will be giving more government jobs, like in public sector, but it is not possible. So that build an anti-incumbency. Yeah.
So, both of you, since you're from Hyderabad and Telangana, I mean, Telangana, so what promises or what prospect do you think Revant Reddy brings? Like, what changes are you expecting to see in the next few years?
Will you go?
I
Sushma?
Yeah, okay. So personally, I am not that aware of like how it's going to bring changes, but with the scheme so far they have brought, I think they should. I mean, they should think in all the ways before they promise. For example, here we see the free bus for women. Um, but when we are promising such things, we have to keep in mind other reasons as well. We see not just men facing issues because of this bus initiative, even women are also facing issues. I recently came across a video where girl was crying because it was already 8 o'clock and the last bus for their village has already left with full of people in the bus. Occupancy is full. So now, then they did not have any buses. So if they do not have enough buses, and when there is occupancy is going to increase very high, so they should bring more buses. So only then they can go for such promises. I mean,
Okay.
what I mean to say is that so whatever they have brought, it is mostly restricted to vote bank, but I see some of the changes he is bringing positively is one is I think there is some gate or something, I don't remember exactly, where people were earlier not able to contact with the CM, but they have he
Yeah, that is also a good
Understood.
point.
Yes,
sorry,
yes,
I
yes,
don't
yes.
remember that
The
name.
The CM
CM
was unreachable earlier. Yes.
unreachable to not just
Yeah,
people,
Yeah.
but
unreachable. And
their
there
own
was one
MLAs.
construction also. There was one construction also, so
Yeah.
that people should not step into that. But
Okay.
I think
Yes.
after he becoming CM, yeah, he has just deconstructed, destroyed that one.
Okay. Okay. One question before we move on. So, what are some
Yeah.
changes that you would love to see in your places of residence or wherever the places
No,
that you've been in the
it's
past?
it's a very big list.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
on. Let's hope your
Okay.
CM and PM, prospective PMs are like watching
Let's
this.
hope our CM will not watch this. Otherwise,
Okay.
Okay.
Go
Sushma
on,
can
go
Yeah,
come
I
on.
out in bail,
understand.
but I cannot.
I think the
Yeah,
political
yeah.
parties haven't
See, I
haven't released their manifesto this time, na? BJP hasn't released, and I think
yeah,
CPIM
actually
manifesto being released recently. That's it.
these people are nowadays like let them release and we will. So we will build on that. Like if they promise 10,000, let us promise 12,000. They are
Mm.
planning to construct on the others manifesto. Okay, and keeping
Mm.
that up aside, the changes that I want to see in my place or in my region, I think the people in our regions, I mean, especially in Andhra Pradesh, as far as I know, because I'm from that state. See, I see most of the people here, whether they are educated or they are not educated, they are very willfully sending their children to schools. However
Mm.
poor or however rich they are, they want their children to get educated. So, if they are not able to afford, they are sending to the government schools, and if they are able to, they are sending to private schools. And here I see, let us not be being biased. Our CM has done really well regarding infrastructure of the schools. Regarding infrastructure of the schools, I recently went to write an exam. There were big screens for them to get access to the smart classes and all. The infrastructure, be it the toilets or be it everything, they have done really incredibly well. But what I want to change is the teachers. Whatever infrastructure, however infrastructure be there in the state, mainly the thing should be teachers. if they are not trained well, of course they are educated, but there is no sense. I rarely see sensibility in the teachers. They come late, they go late. We see this in all the cases. I think that sensibility, if it is not there in the teachers, whatever we bring to the schools, it's like only a peripheral decoration.
Mm-hmm. Just to add, I think
So
in a lot of government and even private schools, there's a lot of teachers who work in 2 or 3 schools at the same time. This is something even I've experienced. Let's say if there's a big organization and it has 2 or 3 schools, so some of these teachers will be teaching in all the 3 schools at the same time.
Yeah.
So the quality of
okay.
service, like they are unable to provide quality of service in any of the schools. So I
See,
think
there
one
is
one.
another problem also. Bringing
Hmm,
like kids
Mm.
to the school is also a very difficult task for even the because in my family they are like very good teachers, government teachers
hmm,
who willfully go to the places like very backward places and bring the children into the schools because that will add to their life a lot. That will add value to their life a lot. The problem that they are facing is because I personally went and meet their parents. What they are basically saying was, okay, for 3 to 8 years, we can send the kid because he's getting free food. That's good.
midday meal
But
scheme.
yeah, his life will go on smoothly. But after 8 years, there is we have to invest so much in the education in order to him to be productive. Or
True,
we can remove him from the school and make him do labor work or any other work that will get him money, which will be
true,
like an
true,
instant gratification. And also, it is not guaranteed that if he went into university, he will be getting a job.
true.
And it is
And
a burden
and
on
also
family.
and I also think that if you stay in India and if you do a specialization degree, there is very
No, I'm
limited
not even
chances that you
talking
get.
about specialization. I'm just talking about
Mm,
sustaining himself.
yeah.
If
No,
if 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 the if the
I
kid
was just
continues to study, you have to sustain him for almost like 21 years. If everything goes
true,
perfect and he gets a job at 21.
true.
But in my perspective, see, what I believe is that whatever the future, I mean, keeping away from the future education and all, higher studies and all, if a child gets proper and proper education in his schooling, then I think in his rest of educational career, from intermediate to degree or MTech, so he will be able to manage himself. If foundation is very good, he can read himself, he can study himself. There is no need of you know he himself can go through, push himself
It's
without any help
it's
if
not about
his foundation
education.
is very good.
No, I
It
think
will give a different
What
perspective.
Tarun was saying,
I'll tell you one example. Like my
prioritizing getting employed over getting education. So like a lot of families in India, we're still at the level of survival that we can't afford to educate our kids so that they can have a better future and overall lift the overall status of the family in, let's say, the next
Okay.
20 years. So I think
Okay.
that's a roadblock. So if the government can do something so that these kids are incentivized to stay in school, like maybe
Mhm.
I think state government implemented like the girl child, they would be paid some 100 rupees per month or something, or even the parents will be paid some 500 or something per month.
uh,
Actually, in our state also we have per yearly payment will be there, 15,000 rupees for
Hmm.
a mother who sends her child to school.
Yes, exactly.
but
Yeah, Tarun, you were saying?
uh, there is only 1 minute left. Like okay, I'll continue this in the next meeting. Like the recording will stop.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Oh.
I think the conversation is going interesting. I hope Sushma will not feel dull seeing two citizens speak.
Not at all.
Of course, she would like to listen to bureaucrats, but what can we do? We are just a normal
Yeah, I have a question regarding that also.
bureaucrats.
Bureaucrats.
I'll tell that.
Okay.
Okay, I have
Tarun
Please,
is
sent
very
you.
please.
keen on.
I'll send you the invitation. Like you can join. I'll end this call.
Okay.
If Tarun wasn't an engineer, he would have been a professional roaster,
Yeah.
like roast
Exactly.
comedian.